Hey and welcome back to Sonic Colors Wii. In this part we're going into one of the prettiest levels in the game, that being Starlight Carnival. And I say prettiest levels in that this level is an absolute visual spectacle. Gameplay wise, well, let's just let the first probably minute or so of this level speak for itself.
Ah, yes.
Look at all this gameplay. All this input that I am manually controlling by myself, all this platforming.
Still looks cool.
It's like, well, yeah, technically this technically controls no different from the on the rails scenes in 06. It's far more enjoyable.
Well, that probably is because it's a visual spectacle,
Yeah.
to be fair, isn't it? Okay, so we've had one bit of gameplay, now we've just got to jump and... yeah, like, these sections, one of the things I remember reviewers kind of having a bit of grief with when this game first came out. That, like, it sort of can throw you into parts where you might die if you don't react. I remember having some issues with sections like that when I first played it, but, like, it's really not that hard to get used to. It's just a case of being on the ball with your reactions, which, admittedly, that's what a lot of Unleashed and Generations are like, so, like, I really can't complain too much about that, to be fair. But then you also get sections like this where we're back slowly moving, platforming, and
you could have made this area the exciting looking area.
yeah, this is the section that like sort of really needs it. And I actually think like them things throwing out the bombs there, they're like a throwback to some of the old badniks from the classic games. I don't actually think you can kill them when they're on the wall like that. I think like they're just made in a way that you can't. Like I might be wrong there, but
Yeah, I think they might only be killable if you're using the cube wisp. Because the slam down sends out a shockwave.
yeah, that's a possibility actually. Like I know they brought them back again in Chemical Plant in Generations, and they are killable. And one thing that amuses me there is that as they're about to die, if you like just pause on that particular frame, you can see they've got like this sort of sad face. I felt like such a prick when I first saw that. It's like, oh no, I'm gonna die.
Yet more proof of why Eggman shouldn't be giving these things intelligence.
Well, no, that's actually not a bad idea, trying to emotionally manipulate Sonic into not beating his robots. Like, Eggman has eventually realised that maybe building the death robots over and over, that plan's not working. So what else can we do? Guilt trip.
Sorry, but the ship coming through the portal just then, Chris, you'll understand me saying this. It just reminded me of the scene in Rogue One when the Star Destroyer comes through at the end and stops all of the others getting away.
Yeah.
Like it just appears in front of them and they all just start crashing into the front.
What's that from?
It's from Star Wars Rogue One.
That scene is just like surprise.
Yeah, there's a moment where all of the good guys, the rebels, they're all trying to fly away because they've just gotten the plans for the Death Star. Then suddenly a Star Destroyer, massive ship, just appears in front of them and they all just start crashing into the front of it.
Oh, well, fuck sort of situation. Yeah. Now this section's one where I get a little bit hesitant with this section sometimes, purely because, like, if you get crushed, obviously that's a kill. I think you might be able to make it through in one hit, but
I think I did manage it.
yeah, because like if you just go for it, you'll be fine. But if you either run out of boost or you hesitate for whatever reason, then you're kind of fucked.
Yeah, you do kind of need to start sliding at some point when dashing through them, because I remember going back several times in this game to just speed around everything.
One thing I will say for Starlight Carnival as well, like other than just the like, you know, the graphics, the pretty colours, all that sort of stuff, I think it also benefits a lot during sections like just that last run toward the goal ring just then. They use some really creative cinematography. Like if you saw the way the camera sort of just twirled round following Sonic, and so it was like the camera was completely upside down at one point, but it's just things like that that just make the entire section feel so much more dynamic. And that's another part where I think this game suffers from being so 2D heavy, because you can't really do that in the 2D sections. So like, I think if there were more 3D areas that they did stuff like that, then you would have more of that particular visual spectacle going on.
Again, like boring and grey and the slow bits.
Yeah, but you got the sort of cool neon blue background.
Yeah, although I will say, look at how often you see these same stock blocks. The same blocks in every zone. And this here cube is easily the worst Wisp. Like, this is all it does. It's either a stomp down, or it has this really situational use of switch the blue rings to a block, or the blue blocks to blue rings. Like, that is it. It's so situational, and outside of the level sections specifically designed for it, it's not that useful. But yeah, and this is something that we haven't actually talked about yet, because each zone in this game has 6 acts, although usually there's only 2 actual fully fleshed out levels. The rest are all very short gimmick zones, aren't they? How do you feel about that, Steve?
I never really took much notice of it. I was just sort of really enveloped by the game at the time that it just never came to mind for me.
I think it becomes very obvious though that some of those levels are filler. Like, this game is a very short game as it is, and when you've got so many filler acts, they do sort of stand out quite a bit. And that's because, if they did just focus on, the 2 fully fleshed out acts, this would be an hour long. That's the sort of thing that, there's a reason why games tend to avoid that. From a critical perspective and just general enjoyment perspective, you take the whole mindset of, quality over quantity. You'd rather have a short game that's fun than a long game that drags. And I get that, but when you're trying to sell games, ultimately you want people to buy the game rather than rent it. And this is how you do it. You make sure they're not going to just beat it really quickly.
Yeah.
Which still, I don't think they had enough to sort of fill it out either though, because my full playthrough of this is 2.5 hours long. It's a short game, but yeah, I'm kind of not sure what other approach I would have wanted them to take though, because Sonic Colors, for all I can say about it, I don't know this for a fact, but it feels like a low budget, low resource game. It feels like the sort of thing that they possibly had I wouldn't say a B team, because it feels like this did get the Sonic team love to it, but with how many reused assets there are, with how they don't really have that many different worlds, it's just the same worlds with loads of acts and stuff, it feels like the sort of thing that maybe they had quite inhibiting restrictions placed on them, the particular development team. And that's not to say that it feels like there's any degradation because of that. It just, when you see the same fucking blocks in every level, the same platforming challenges in every level, it kind of makes you think that they didn't have that much time with this, or they didn't have that much budget with this.
It's a good job they sort of did go for quality then and quantity in a way.
Yeah. I've got to ask though, that first section, why did they start me there? Why did they not just start me at the start of the actual level itself?
I guess it's to just sort of give you the illusion that this was going to be fast. So it's let's give them a really quick moment that they're not in control of, and then immediately start them there anyway.
But it feels so pointless.
But brief moment of speed.
But it's not speed, it's the thing just throw you up.
But speed!
It's that slow form of speed, isn't it, Stephen? These things can be quite annoying when you're trying to dodge damage entirely, because they've got very predictable patterns, but when you've got 2 of them quite close to each other, then it's a case of paying attention to both of them at once. It's one thing that I noticed, at the time of recording this, it was just a couple of days ago, I recorded Zero Wing with the Hellfire crew, and it's the same sort of situation there when you got things firing at you from multiple directions. They may be a very simple pattern, but once you've got several of them to dodge, or even just in them sections 2 of them to dodge, then it becomes that little bit more of a challenge.
Am I the only one who's reminded of Rainbow Road? Is that?
Yeah.
A little bit. It's funny you mention that actually, because in Sonic All Stars Racing Transformed, I know we did a playthrough of that a few years ago, but do you remember they had Starlight Carnival in that game? And that kind of filled the slot for the brightly coloured rainbow level, which, you know, it does have a visual spectacle appeal to it, and it was really nice to see it in HD in that game. Another reason why I want a PC port, guys. You're saying, like, this, I know it wouldn't be quite as good looking if they just ported this game to PC as it was like in All Stars Racing Transformed.
It's just the mods you want.
Well, not really with this. It's because I want Sonic Colors to be playable without the Wii's limitations, and I was really fucking lucky that Spring was there, wasn't I? But yeah, I think that even just upscaling this game, because what I've done here for the sake of this footage is I'm playing this on a Wii U, and I've played it on HDMI, which it doesn't like HDify it that much, but it just sort of sharpens it a little bit compared to like playing it on a Wii. So that's why this looks a lot better than like if you played it on your Wii when it first came out and it was very blurry and shit. Like, some people don't like what the Wii U does to games, like Wii games, because there are a lot of jaggies here, but as someone like me who doesn't really need anti-aliasing at all, I can live with it, and I just like the jaggies and the sharpness. Almost guilty pleasure worthy, I guess, but hey. Anyway, 3D section! This is a rarity.
So even though we haven't played Forces yet, this is pretty much the only version. This is the only Sonic game where the wisps are pretty much used near perfectly.
I say near perfectly because this hover section here, like the hover wispy is like the wisp they introduced in Starlight Carnival. It's okay. It's weird to me that this wisp is the only way you can use the light dash in this game.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, because you forgot you can actually use the light dash in this game. But yeah, it's another thing that it's quite slow. I get what they're going for with here, of like these slowly ascending the tower. It's fine, although it does have the ascending the tower sort of problem in that if you fuck up once, you could fall way down and have to redo a lot of level.
Yeah, because you can't take damage.
Well, does it fuck you over if you get hit with that?
Pretty sure it does.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't. I think that it just, like, you lose your rings, but because you're in this restricted mobility form, it's harder to collect the rings back. That might be what you're thinking of.
It's been ages since I played it, so I just instantly assumed that when you get hit, you come out of the form.
No, I'm pretty sure you get to keep it at least as long as it runs out, but, like, it does still leave you that bit more vulnerable, because obviously you're slower in this form, and you can't sort of dodge things quite as quickly, so you gotta be that little bit more careful about any enemy projectiles and whatnot.
I haven't really mentioned yet that you can mess around with the screen at the end when you finish the level.
You can, yes. And like, if you knock out certain sections, depending on what rank you get, if you knock out certain sections of the text, then you can get like extra lives, which is pretty cool. Granted, you probably won't need that many lives in this game because it's fucking Sonic Colors.
Yeah, the only time you'll likely lose lives is when you bother to start collecting the red rings.
That's true, yeah. That's actually a good point, because I believe this game was the first one to actually have the red rings in it. Basically, there's 5 per act, and if you get all of them, then you unlock these gimmicky little Game Land stages, which... they're alright. I'm not going to bother with them in this playthrough because they're alright. You know, they're nothing special, nothing to write home about. But if you do that, then eventually once you've beat all the Game Land ones, you can get Chaos Emeralds from that, which is the only actual appearance the Chaos Emeralds make in this game. And once you've beat all of that, then you can play Super Sonic in the main levels, similar to how you can unlock Super Sonic in the classic games. I've never bothered with it.
I did. It was quite easy.
Yeah, I just really don't have that much interest in replaying all the gimmicky little acts. Like, if I come back to play Colours, like outside of obviously doing the odd full playthrough like this, then I'm mostly just playing, you know, the more developed acts of each world. So I'm not that fussed about getting supersonic or just boosting through. I just want to play it for the fuck of it.
Yeah, plus honestly, when I did get supersonic, it was fun playing through some of the levels because there are plenty of levels there that you can boost through as supersonic, but with the platforming levels, it doesn't really feel like you don't want to go back to them as supersonic because you know you're not going to be able to just charge through everything like you want to.
I've got to ask, that level, you know, in Sweet Mountain where it's standing on the switches and the things go, does that become more bearable when you can just phase through all the lasers?
I never really tried because of it being slow.
Fair play.
So again, that's one of the examples of why would I go back as supersonic when it's going to be slow.
Now, this section here, Eggman has somehow managed to pull a mind control beam out of his ass. And this, I feel like this is one of two sections where they cop out of like what I would like, which is a Sonic vs Tails boss fight. Because there's this section, and there's also that Mecha Tail section from Lost World. Yeah. I think that could be kind of cool. Like if there's maybe some boss gimmick where you have to stun him but also show mercy or something, like that could work well as a boss.
Also, look at the speed that Tails is moving without even using his tails.
Yeah, Tails is really fast when he's not being useful.
Yeah, once he starts working against Sonic, suddenly it's like latent powers awaken. Oh, he looks so angry.
Scary Foxo is scary.
Oh, sorry, Sonic could just easily kick him in the head and be done with it.
He could, but it's his friend. He doesn't want to hurt his friend that much.
Yeah, you've got a voice that I can listen to now. I can't hurt you. You finally developed.
Can't we put Cubot's voice box in Tails?
Oh god, could you imagine if Cubot suddenly had the voice of the original Tails at one point?
No, give him Hero's Tails voice.
Yeah. Oh yes, I remember this boss battle.
I think I mentioned it briefly in the last part, but I do think these bosses are some of the most fun. Like, that's really not much in terms of competition. It's not the highest praise out there, but these can be pretty fun once you start picking up what you meant to do and picking up how to do them effectively. Essentially, you notice in these sections I've been doing quick steps a lot, completely what looks like redundancy. But if you look over on the right, every time I quick step, I get a points bonus. And I'm gonna whore for points, even though I'm not even going for a points run. If I can get easy points by doing very little, I'm gonna fucking do it, you know?
It's like you only have to aim for those specific points of this ship, which means the rest of the ship is completely redundant.
It is. You know what it sort of reminds me of a little bit? You remember the Egg Albatross in Sonic Heroes? Where you're running along and like sort of the blimp things sort of running down the middle. Like, granted, I think that has more hazards than this does. Because like this, the most damage you're going to get is like from the odd spike ball or something, or a bomb or whatever. Whereas in that one, if you jump wrong, you could fall into a pit. Although saying that, the trick for the Heroes one is to repeatedly mash the homing attack unapologetically, because it will go back really fucking quickly. Like in this one, the weak point is just fucking laser through the middle. Yeah, it is one of the things that as long as you pay attention to where the boxes drop, and also don't be afraid to hold back on the controls sometimes. Because sometimes if you get too comfortable with one particular speed, then you will end up just running into whatever he drops. Whereas you can easily weave around that if you sort of duck back temporarily. And the same thing goes for boosting forward as well, because you can sort of speed up to him very easily if you so choose, and that helps you line up your laser that little bit more easily too. I don't know why they give us so many rings when we've just beaten. That seems completely redundant, don't know about you.
Yeah, it probably adds to the points.
Yeah, probably true, good point. Did I get the S? Oh. I mean, I got the A, but Eggman took the L, so it's all sorted. That's another one then I'm not getting a response on it.
Oh, I gave it to him pretty good. What's up, Yacker? So did you get any more info but yeah.
Well, we know Eggman is going to use the energy he's stealing for a mind control weapon.
It's all adding up. Thank you for giving us more exposition on that, Sonic. We totally didn't see that when he fucking took control of Tails.
Talking about how Baldy Nosehair was using burps.
I like how everyone's using Baldy Nosehair now.
Gassy, maybe the smell would knock him out? I don't know, something doesn't seem right with that.
That's what I said.
Yeah, okay, that one was a little bit cringy.
I made a tiny adjustment.
That one. That specific one.
Yeah, that's one of my things with, like, humour, you know, like,
It's a relief.
I can take silly, but when it comes down to, like, fart jokes, that's when it's a bit...
Okay, I can understand that. I mean, everybody seems to share an opinion on that.
Yeah, like, that's just the one sort of humour that I just... It's a bit of a off-putting kind of thing for me. Like, I can take, like, silly humour, I can take bad puns, I can take, you know, just corny humour. And I can even take, like, trashy sex jokes, as long as it's, like, done at least with some degree of self-reference. But when it's just, what if he's gonna use gas to get us or some shit like that, then, I could do without that.
The mind control weapon will be full of energy I've siphoned from the aliens, and Sonic's world will be the
One thing that kind of sticks out to me when I'm looking at these cutscenes is for all the sort of upbeat humour in this game, Eggman's plot is actually really fucked up. Like, absorbing this entire species' life force and just kind of taking over them just to destroy their home and build factories, that's really fucking dark. But you don't even notice that, because it's like, Eggman's getting all this goofy banter with, like, Allbot and Cubot.
Yeah, it's basically just, oh, Eggman's at it again. Oh, that rascal.
Oh,
enslaving alien races and killing them for his fuel to control the minds of the populace.
Silly old Führer Eggman, because that's basically what it fucking is.
He's cartoon Hitler.
Although, like, maybe he overdid the moustache a little bit. And even the subtitles got in on the action. We gotta have the 3 exclamation points, don't we?
need for those idiots. In just a few hours, Sonic's world will be under my control. When it is, it will be the crown jewel of my amusement park. The greatest amusement park in the universe.
The greatest one in space, at least, because no fucker else has tried it.
Yeah, he hasn't exactly explored all of the universe yet, so out there's probably a far better amusement park.
Yeah, maybe some weird alien species on Mars have got some hype roller coaster shit going on. I don't know.